So I'm motivating myself to some scrapbooking, my first scrapbook page for a couple of weeks, and I'm motivating myself with a sketch from Stuck Sketches, and I'm also using my kit that I've made up to the ingredients of For the Love of Homemade Kits. A great way to inspire you if you've lost a little bit of scrapbooking mojo. So I'm just auditioning my papers now. I think I've pretty much chosen them, but I wanted to see if anything worked better. And lots of these papers are Dear Lizzie, She's Magic. So I'm thinking of using that green one there, the grid one, down the bottom, at the bottom piece, and that yellow offcut for which is a bow bunny piece for the middle section. I'm sort of changing the dimensions that are shown really on the sketch. And I'm going to use some of this acrylic paint. Now, I do find this acrylic paint quite difficult to work with. And as you can see, I'm not great with paint. That does look like something a child has done in my class. But you don't see much of it, so that's what I'm sort of reconciling myself with. This is such a lovely sketch, and if you have a look on Pinterest, there's lots and lots of scrapbooking sketches. But this is actually from a blog spot. This one is created by Laura Whitaker. I'll put the link below for the blog spot because they've got loads of great sketches on there, and they've shown then how people have sort of interpreted them. So I'm scrapbooking this photo of my little nephew Reuben, and the main colour I was going for really is the colour of his coat. He's like a little fashion icon, fair play. I love to use up scraps of paper. It's so satisfying to see scraps going out and scrapbook pages coming in. So I'm going to use some of these cut apart pieces. They're quite difficult to cut apart with a trimmer because they're all different sizes. So I'm trying to sort of cut down as many as I can so I can get to the ones I want. I want to use this green one. I like these because they look like they're stuck on a bulletin board with a bit of tape. So I'm just going to use some of these now as layering pieces. And just to sort of put behind my picture, but they're also really handy for journaling and things like that, or for your project life as well actually. So I think whatever I don't use in this kit I will add to my project life kit. So as you can see, I have made my centerpiece a lot smaller than is shown on the screen. So I'm sort of realizing that they've actually got a punched element, and me being so organized, I didn't have a punch out, so I'm using this Martha Stewart one I got for the scallops. And once again, this is another offcut, because in the For the Love of Homemade Kits this month, you've got to use at least 3 paper scraps. Now, luckily enough, 2 of the paper scraps I chose actually match the papers I'm using, because they were from a project I did before, and I only used that collection. It was when I did a design slot for a cybercrop for Lottie Loves Paper. So they have been languishing now in my scrap box, so it's quite nice to see them used. And I don't often use flowers on pages for little boys, but because it's only a little tiny piece, you can't sort of see exactly what it is. Do you know, I find it really hard to get back into scrapbooking after a little time away. I've been doing lots and lots of card making, as you probably see if you follow me. My YouTube channel has been full of new cards, but I find it really tricky to flip between the two. Now I'm trying out these vellum frames, but they weren't going to work. I'm trying to find some of the tags. That tag goes nicely. This tag has been in I don't know how many stash kits, so I'm so glad to see it actually on a page, not going back in my embellishment boxes. Just checking. The paint dries really, really quickly, which is one good thing for it. And there's nothing to do with the paint, it's mainly to do with me. It's a user error, I think, rather than a product error. I do like these sort of ledger style pieces of paper. I think they add lots and lots of interest to it. So now I've decided that I should have actually roughed up the edges. Nothing like sticking it down and then deciding, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll just rough up those edges a little bit. And as you can see, there's quite a sharp knife on the end of that, so I needed to be careful in case I did myself an injury. I just wanted it to have a little bit of dimension off the page. I need to get my inks out because I do like inked edges, but because my inks are down my craft room from me, it tends to be laziness, and because they're not directly in front of me, I forget they're there. So I'm looking through now, and the embellishments for this month are mainly flowers, which are not going to work on my page. I'm looking also for flare badges, and I'm thinking none of those vellum pieces are going to work either. I'm just sort of putting it. I have changed the focus on my camera, and I keep forgetting when I'm videoing the space that I'm using. So I keep going off the blinking screen. I'm sorry. So here we are. I'm going to use one of these other sort of cut apart pieces just to continue to layer up my photo. Yeah, my ATG is playing up as well. He's probably thinking, what are you doing? You don't do scrapbooking very often. I've got these little twines. I'm gone for this little yellow one because the one piece of background paper is very yellow. I'm just sort of doubling it up and threading it through just to add a little bit of extra detail. And I do like, if a tag has got a hole in it, I do like it to have something through it. As you can see, I've used a little orange flare badge. There is some orange. His boots are quite orangey brown, and there is some orange in the floral piece that I've put on. And then I also use some orange letter stickers, so it does sort of all coordinate. The sticky that I had on the back of the flare well, it wasn't very sticky, so I put my own foam pads on, and then I thought, best stick my photo down. And as I said in my video for when I made up my kit, lots of my flare badges have gone a little bit rusty. So if you have got them, start using them up. But then I get concerned that they're going to be rusty on my page. So I don't know. Flare is not one of my favourite products. I haven't bought many flare. I tend to have them in kits. That being said, I have bought some in the past. So, you know, I'm my own worst enemy as well. So I'm just using these cocoa vanilla stickers. Ruben was very, very premature. He was absolutely tiny. I can remember seeing him for the first time in the incubator, and he was tiny. So that's why he's such a little fighter. My title, even though you can't see it on the screen very well, is Our Fearless Boy. And he's a real fashion icon. And at this point, I'm starting to think that my page is looking a little bit empty. There's too much white space on there. So in a second, I'm going to start rummaging around for some more embellishments I can use, because I don't think the florals will sort of go very well with it. I'm still sort of trying. I'm trying my hardest here. So I found this sheet here. And I don't know about you, I really struggle to use images of children. They always look a little bit odd, I think, these children embellishments. I don't mean children in general, just these embellishments. So I thought at least I could use that. And then I'm determined I'm going to use this somewhere. So I put it down by there then. And then there's these funny little postage stamps on there. But the colours work beautifully with the page. So I've used one there, and I think that's pretty much me coming to the end. I keep looking, and I do find a heart that I'm going to use. And that is my first scrapbook kit, my first scrapbook page in ages, and the first one from my new kit. So thank you so much for joining me, and I shall hope to see you very soon. Hwyl fawr!